Milta. It looks like they're committing to that. The night drop, the usual night drops, Prison, Lipovka, Mansion Split, maybe even Shelter, depends if they're going to do that. What I'm excited to see is who's going to go Pachinki and how many is going to go there. Because that's definitely something to talk about. M19 usually and a Yasnaya drop, also with MVP. They're going to fight for that. We'll see. M19 usually goes east, MVP usually goes west, so that's very usual for them.
Method heading to Pachinki is not a surprise.
Not surprised at all. We expected them kind of to fight with Team 17, but that looks like it's
Although
not
we're
gonna
WTSG are.
happen.
Oh, that's South Georgia.
Oh, 17 is coming Pachinki. It looks like we're going to have a fight on Pachinki.
Okay.
Okay, and Team Secret, who had a miserable day yesterday, they are heading up towards the north. We'll go then into game with our casters for our first match. It's Cameron Davis and Esquire to take us to Erangel.
Thank you very much, Matt Hayes and Avenger. My name is Phil Esquire Stewart, joined here on the casting desk for the first set of 3 games by Cameron Davis, and what an exciting set of games it is going to be.
Absolutely. Erangel, the classic, the original.
The tried and tested.
Yeah, the one that
OG.
everyone loves. This is the one that a lot of people are waiting for. And we saw the plane route. Now we also see the circle. This entire setup is very much top heavy. But the fight is breaking out in the center of the map as Chris gets taken out and fully wiped from the beginning by 47 Gamer from Team 17.
Yeah, our analyst desk talked about Pachinki being a hotbed for destruction, and it is already lighting up as we see our first blood of the game. Method going to be the only casualty so far in our first 2 minutes of game number 1 of day 2. Popping over here, though, to Severny, we see that Secret's going to be looting up there, popping around the map, though, as well. Just looking at all of these different locations that these teams are going to be dropping in, Cameron, this is the first at least real game that these players have been able to play with one another on this specific map.
They have scrimmed with each other, I believe, on this map a little bit, so they're not going into this blind necessarily with their drops. But this is still the very first real game on this map. They obviously had to balance out the scrims with both Miramar and Erangel. So there is still a little bit of, I guess, comfort that needs to get developed in these first couple of games. But that's why we play 20 games, 10 on each. They get time to develop and adapt with each other and to change up their strategies depending on who they're going up against. And that's really important for the fact that this is an international event. And so these aren't necessarily teams that they're used to playing with time and time again.
Yeah, exactly. Rotations paths might be copied over by other teams, and they might find themselves colliding with one another. But more shots going to be popping off here in Pachinki. It looks like Raffi on top of this building might be able to spot out some of the members of Team 17. Certainly looking to catch out 47 Gamer and his teammate if he can do so with that DP28, though. Popping down, Moleman going to be wrapping around the corner as well, just trying to get through these buildings. They've got to be careful. They've already lost one member of their squad, and certainly Team 17 wants Pachinki all to themselves.
QMCC needs to watch out. He is by himself, but he laid a lot of damage onto Moleman, almost knocking him down. However, if Method are able to recognize that QMCC is separated, and I think they do recognize that, I think they're going to be circling on his position. He needs help from his teammates fast.
Yeah, he really does. He's up in the second story of this building. Already put out a lot of damage on the Method, but certainly this just gives them the indication that they need to wipe out this threat. We see AT wrapping around the northern side of Pachinki, trying to get a full collapse with his other 2 teammates still alive onto QMCC. We see him popping around. He's going to be actually jumping down the stairs, going to be trying to get a peek out of the first floor. Retreats off of that, and we're going to have to see where he goes, because certainly Moleman has his eyes primed.
Ooh, a nice nade. Will it be enough to follow up? No, I think it went to a different room, but AT dropped QMCC anyway, and it's going to be an easy wipe for them. It's going to be a finish. It's going to be a trade. 3-3 is all that is left.
Yeah, neither of these teams coming out on top of the other here in Pachinki, so certainly this is going to be something that we're going to see develop over the course of today's 5 games. Will Team 17 continue to drop in this area?
17 want to go for this, though. They want to keep this fight up. 47 Gamers swinging around the side with the Scar. He's even on the roof, spots a player out. Brings Moleman back down to half HP, but Moleman's able to get behind cover and call out that position to his teammates.
Yeah, just feeding this information. I mean, it's so important in these close quarter battle engagements in towns. You've got to be fully aware of where these threats are lying, whether or not they're on the first, second story, or even on the roof like we're seeing 47 Gamer exhibit currently. Shock's going to be wrapping around the side of this building, just trying to get whatever peaks they can. 47 Gamer dropping off of the building, going to be trying to possibly get back up there. That was a fairly favorable position for him to be in, but this standoff just continues to sort of develop here in this Pachinki area. It looks like Moleman's going to be connected on by Shocks. A grenade coming in the second story as well. Needs to be extremely careful. Raffi's going to be wrapping around this building, trying to get the res. Spots out Xiao, going to be dropping him down with that DP28.
Ooh, doesn't want to commit to that flush just yet, but he at least gets a down trade, gives him the opportunity to go and revive his teammate, but this also gives 17 the time to do the same. Show is very low, though, but the revive is there in time. 8Z is trying to hold the angle. CDB can't spot anyone, but in the middle of a city, it can be really hard to make sure you have all the angles covered.
Yeah, I mean, this is incredibly tough for both of these teams. They've been engaged for so long that they really haven't been able to reap the benefits of that Pachinki loot. They're taking casualties on both sides, and to boot, Cameron, they're going to have to make their way up towards the north where teams are already rotating.
Yeah, you can see, we have the map in front of us right now. We can see that a lot of other teams are rotating themselves, but these guys, they're still not done looting, and they're using even a lot of this equipment, a lot of this ammo and meds just in this initial fight. So whoever comes out of this, even if they keep all 3 remaining members alive, is still going to be at a huge disadvantage in this.
Ooh, Moleman going to be spotted, but also spots out Shox on the 3rd story of this building. Spray coming out from both teammates, but they're not able to find the ultimate fatal connections. Moleman going to be popping those meds. His last med, Cameron, he has no first aids, no bandages, and no boost. The last Red Bull energy drink going to be popped right there to get whatever health he can back, because it's going to be so important in this 3v3.
Oh, Moleman spotted an angle, but wasn't able to land any of those shots. Recognizes that there's likely 2 players. Don't know if he noticed that Shox was retreated from that building. Show found a nice Car 98 to his name, however. Trying to rail those headshots. I think he tagged Rafi in the chest.
Yeah, it looked like it was a little bit low for a headshot, but it was a quick shot nonetheless. Shao is such a deadly player. We saw him fragging out in yesterday's games on Miramar. Will he continue to do the same today? Certainly there are going to be some enemy threats that he has to eliminate for either of these teams to actually rotate out to the north, Cameron. There aren't many paths that these guys can take.
8C is there on the side. He's going to establish a crossfire for Method, or at least attempt to do so. And if he could come in huge, it could be good work for them. But again, all these buildings, all this cover makes it difficult for either of these teams to fully commit an engagement on the other.
And no one wants to be the first player to breach into a building. Certainly a lot to be lost. Having to only work with 3 players, I mean, it's incredibly tough. The entire strategy for both of these teams has had to adjust in just 7 minutes and 30 seconds into game number 1, Cameron. But will they be able to sort of continue this battle, or do you think one of them is going to have to rotate out? And that is actually going to be Method's 8C, finding a connection on a Team 17 Shao.
Shox, though, he's making an easy rotate over. This could be a good pickup because Method aren't flushing in onto this. They're not full committed, but 8C does land a couple more shots onto Shox, and Rafi is there for the follow-up to get the second down, and it's just 47 Gamer left. 8C's not able to finish Shox fully, but so much pressure immediately put on 47 Gamer to try and turn this into some salvageable situation. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if he wanted to go on the retreat, especially because Shox and Show both fully bled out.
Both fully bled out, leaving just one member of Team 17 to push on here in game number 1 of day 2 for the StarSeries I-League Season 2 event. We can see 47 Gamer on the 2nd story of this building, just trying to hold lines of sight, trying to avoid getting shot by one of the members of Method. We didn't know which way this engagement was going to go originally, but certainly it's now lending itself in favor of Team Method.
Absolutely, but then again, still, we talked about this already, they're not going to be in the best situation once they leave this city. Sure, they're not going out first. 17, though, I can't necessarily say the same for them. 47 Gamer is stuck in a building. Method, they haven't triangulated his position directly, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just wanted to get on the move. There's a little bit of pressure for them to try and find this last person so he doesn't bite them in the back, but if they can find an easy exit out of the city, they're going to want to take it.
Exactly. I mean, you could spend so much time looking for 47 Gamer, you might even get dropped yourself if he gets that cheeky peek around the corner. So if I were Method, you just got to get out of Dodge, got to get up towards that northern first circle of the game. Around the map that we can see that a lot of teams have actually focused their concentration on this centralized area of this circle. We can see Severny, the area south of Severny, very congested.
Yeah, and a lot of people are fighting for this area east, actually. You got Gen G right now rotating in from the south, still not quite in the circle themselves. They're going to be coming in late, and so I can imagine they're going to try and play on the edge. Vega as well, pulling their own rotation through.
Yeah, it was sort of interesting seeing the original teams drop out of the plane. We saw 4 teams drop pretty much right on top of Milta Power, sort of scouting out where the guys are going to be going. Gen G opted to go towards Nova. We had Vega Squadron down on Sosnovka Island proper. So these guys pretty much had the farthest rotations out of any teams on the map.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of the game. When you choose one of the areas on the side, you always are aware of that there's the possibility that the circle is going to go on the opposite end, and you got to have contingency plans available for when that happens. And usually it means coming in very, very late, waiting for usually the 3rd or maybe 4th circle to finally establish a position of strength. In the early game, you just want to play slow because you recognize that you are lacking priority when it comes to finding a good spot in the first few circles.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. We can still see nothing has changed here since Method was able to wipe out the other two members of Team 17, leaving 47 Gamer as a solo player. He does not want to rotate out. He's very, I mean, you got to play cautiously at this point. You don't want to be the team that goes out in 16th place, especially after their performance in day one.
We've seen some people snake from the early game to even up to a top 5 position, so 47 Gamer, if he recognizes that Method are out, that opens up a lot of possibilities. It's still going to be a rough ladder for him to climb to try and get anywhere past 10th place, but it is very much doable. But Method, unfortunately, they're still stuck inside, and partly because I think they're lacking the vehicles. Ooh, Maxazor, though, finds an angle, doesn't... I think he may have landed that in the chest. Wasn't a headshot, though. Example is trying to rotate away, trying to grab that new vehicle and drive as far and fast as he can.
Yeah, Vegas Squadron just utilizing that opposite side, the northern side of Stalber Hill, to try to use these angles to drop shots down on the M19. A beautiful shot coming out from Kippy. They tried to follow up, put even more damage out on him, but at the very least, it's going to be pushing M19 off of that position. Meanwhile, though, here comes Tainted Minds, going to be spotting some of the members of MVP. Some long-range shots coming in. Certainly just poke shots at this point in time, but this might lend itself to an engagement in just a matter of moments.
The line of sight isn't super strong between those two, but we'll see where the next circle goes. That's going to say a lot, and it continues to swing up. It's still half in the water. There is a lot less land to play around now. And MVP, they're going to try and rotate. They could go through Tainted Minds, but it looks like they're trying to rotate up. Ghost, however, are there in their way, but they're on their own rotate.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's very interesting. When you have this much water, Cameron, in the second circle, you know that the fourth circle, the land ratio is going to shift it back towards the land. So it sort of lends itself to predictability as to where that circle will end up. And these teams are going to be employing these strategies, trying to find the most optimal compound. But here we have Divine rolling in their convoy right next to Knights, followed up by M19. 3 teams trying to crash into this circle. What's going to happen?
Divine have one player in a really strong compound in the second. The other 3 are trying to follow up onto it, but it's being attacked by multiple squads trying to fight for it. That land ratio at 4th is calling out to all these teams that this single compound is what's important. Secret are there first, but they already lose 1 player.
Ooh, Divine JJ Leo going to be dropped outside of this compound. Check wraps around the corner, able to spot out. Nikki takes him down as well. Levi is trying to get some shots out onto Check and is able to get the knock.
He's got the M249, but it's not enough. Just barely doesn't get the kill, but a follow-up by his teammate immediately knocks Smitty. I think Secret, oh no, they are taken out. No, they take out Divine. Actually, 1 player left standing.
Fiend, the only remaining player for Secret, able to come out with that clutch and wipe out Divine Esports in 16th place here in our first game of day number 2. But it is not over yet. Secret just gave away their position to all of these teams in the surrounding areas, and they need to be careful. Kippy going to be dropped out of the vehicle somehow, possibly a misclick, a miskey, or something, but he's going to be in a world of hurt because there are a lot of enemy threats nearby.
Knights, they're on top of the hill, and they're doing a lot of damage to Vega. Maxazor gets finished as well, and I got a couple people still left from that team trying to rotate through, but now they're getting close to Secret's recently acquired compound. Secret are still licking their wounds, so they're not in the best position to punish rotations around them just yet. But there you can see the guns firing off. Kemba has to get off the bike, trying to hide behind a tree, has a smoke in hand to try and use that defensively as well.
Yeah, but does he know? Oh, and 47 Gamer going to be dropped out here in Pachinki. Method's Mole Man ends up ultimately finding him in the blue zone for quite a long time right there, Cameron. But he eliminated the threat. No longer going to have to worry about that solo player on their backs.
But they're still in the blue. I don't know what their equipment is like. Kemba, though, is an even worse situation. I think he still has a teammate somewhere, or it may have been Kippy who just got finished off. Vega, they are bleeding heavily no matter what it is. I see Vampire Game is still alive, though, so they still have 2 snakes solo, but they are in no position to help each other out just yet. Kemba, sorry, man, you're on your own.
You are on your own, and with so much of this area of the map, this northern circle not going to be in play. I mean, the landmass is so small, Cameron. These teams are going to be jam-packed tight into one another, but we've already seen this be an extremely bloodthirsty match. We've got 12 players dropped, 2 teams already eliminated. Now Kemba inside of the smoke behind the tree, trying to avoid these shots coming out from XQuest. Will he be able to do it? Certainly, if you just spray enough, you might find those connections.
Tainted Minds, though, they're coming in themselves. Leaving a little late the compound we spotted them earlier, but they're running directly into Optic. Hetero trying to get the spray down onto them to push them away, force them to find a new position.
Optic, our second place team after day 1, trying to extend that lead on the leaderboards, trying to take out the members of Tainted Minds, getting a few shots out, and it looks like it's actually going to be Ben Chu knocking out Juicy on the vehicle. A tough spot to be in, especially with Optic aiming down.
And Ghost has the angle onto them, trying to punish that misplay by Tainted Minds. You can see those flares come through. Line of sight isn't the greatest. The hill gives them a little bit of cover, as well as the range is working into their advantage. but this still tells Tainted Minds that they need to get out, and they need to get out fast.
Yeah, absolutely. The compound that Ghost is currently holding is such an extreme choke point coming into Severity from the south or dropping out of Severity from the north. Secret was currently holding that, or was previously holding that compound. They rotated out a little bit to the west, and that allowed Ghost to now come in. Jukesy going to be in the smoke, shots coming out, and Turtle is going to be able to finish that kill and get those points.
He got downed immediately after getting picked up. Benchu did decide to leave him, drop the smoke for him, but then left him to grab his own vehicle again. And that's because even though you want to keep everyone alive, you don't want to keep someone in such a dangerous position like that to potentially lose 2 players. So losing 1 instead of the potential 2 was the call that they made, and unfortunately, he got dropped and fully wiped, but at least Tainted Minds are able to keep the other 3 members alive, and they find a compound on the very edge of the circle.
Exactly, and here we see Gen G in a loose 2-2 split right now. Loki and Teletor up to the north, up on top of this hill. Simpson and Wicked down the hill, but they are being engaged on by Navi right now. Pokemolodoy and his teammates going to be popping off some shots, trying to find some connections, but that is going to alert Gen G exactly where the enemy threat lies. We're going to see their guns aim themselves over to the east, trying to see if they can find these members of Navi.
Tainted Minds are on the move themselves once again because the next circle update, but they are driving past a lot of threats, and it's going to be MVP Zero Tan who wipes out Benchu. Tainted Minds now down to 2. Subslayer making a longer rotate around to try and avoid those angles, but they're going to have to go along the beach to get into the next circle. Navi, though, they're going to be able to hold Gen G off, or at least attempt to do so. Wick 2D is already taken down by Uba.
Yeah, unfortunate for them. I mean, they were so split up there, and Wicked was the only player that didn't actually go up to meet with his 3 teammates of Gen G. So our next circle is out, Cameron. It's going to be shifting us down to the southwest of where our central point of circle number 2 was, but I think these players were expecting this circle. As we can see, most of the teams already in, but this eastern side is lighting up. We can see shots going left and right. Knights engaging on the only 2 members left from Tainted Minds. Meanwhile, Valiate on the opposite side of the shack from Larson, just trying to avoid these shots. Here comes the backup from Welcome to South Georgia, just trying to collapse onto this solo player from Optic on this shack.
This is a very important spot in this circle because the next update is going to swing away from the water. Optic really want this fight. Valiate, he's getting support from his teammates, but Larson and Miruku drop and kill Hypuck. Valiate swinging around the side trying to get the trade, but he gets traded himself. Vard finishes him off. There's only Bahawaka left from Optic, and he's discovered. Final shot comes through. It's actually going to be Victory 5 who get that final kill, but Optic go out in 14th place.
Whew, not what you would expect to happen here in our first game of Air and Go Optic. As I said earlier, our second place team coming off of our Miramar matches on day number 1, going out very early.
Ooh, a nade from Drainus and the follow-up from Pokemolodoy. Gen G go down to 2 players left now. Drainus trying to spot the angle. Not spotted just yet. But Chelator and Loki from Gen G are still inside the circle just barely, but Subslayer in the meantime does get found out by Smitty. That's going to be Tainted Minds down in 13th.
And
MVP trying to bomb into the top of Severny, but it's going to be Knights here to stop them.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw so much crossfire coming out on this eastern side of the circle. MVP just trying to make that rotation in on this northern coastline, and they're drawing fire from all different angles. Here we have Secret. Going to be popping off some shots, but Knights have now diverted their attention around the bend, down to the south, onto Ghost Gaming.
And 19 holding the coast. They have a good angle onto a lot of players. Examples trying to rotate around and see if we can't get a spray down to MVP's remaining transitioning vehicles. Can't find the connections just yet. Ping G.
Not easy shots to make, but look at what XQuest's Z9 Max is able to pull off, knocking out one of the members of MVP. So MVP, I believe, just down to 2 remaining members to push on here in game number 1. Meanwhile, though, look at XQuest's position. They are sitting so pretty. They've got one player split off a little bit to the east, just trying to scout out and give the information to his other 3 teammates inside of the compound. You got to like what you're seeing out of these guys.
With the 4th circle shift away from water, that's going to make XQuest's compound very, very strong. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them take the first win of day number 2, just like yesterday, but there are still 12 teams alive. Ghost on top of the hill here, trying to find an angle onto Knights. They have Knights pinned out in Severny. Severny is not in the circle. Knights were a little late to rotate themselves, and they gave an opportunity for Ghost to jump in front of them. And now they're going to be gatekeeping them on the side.
Ooh.
MVP, though, ping, dropped. Zero Tan's trying to get the revive, drops the smoke, uses the tree cover to keep Uba from finishing that off.
Yeah, it looks like for the time being, they're going to be able to get that res. The line of sight is to be had behind the tree, but look at that. Ubo is thirsty for blood. He wants these kill points. 7 points per kill. He's going to be wrapping around as far as he can up to the north, trying to see if he can get these angles.
Wants to find that he wants to finish the kill, but the tree cover may be a little too much. Ooh, he spots the taillight, I believe. I don't know if he sees him crawling below the car, though.
Yeah, I mean, he knows the general vicinity of where they are, but with the accuracy of trying to land those shots through the smoke, it's extremely hard. But here we have the 4-man strong squad of Knights trying to push up onto this hill. Ghost Gaming, Allogene, and one other player from that squad are going to be up here. Turtle are very, very close to one another. And then welcome to South George. Dominant position on this hill where they wiped out Optic. It's just been an incredibly bloodthirsty game here.
It has. This position for WTSG is strong, but there's not a lot of cover, so they're going to have to use their own weapons to try and be super aggressive to keep the attackers from coming.
Look at all these rotations coming out. We can see M19 going to be crashing down from the north just to the southwest of where XQuest position is. Already shots coming out. I mean, these guys are jam-packed into this very small circle with one another. M19 just trying to hide behind this shack. Bachelor going to be bleeding out inside of the shack. But can these members, can Elite Player and Constantine get around in the line of sight of Genji into the shack to get the res? And no, they're just being absolutely decimated.
They wanted this position because it was relatively central, but they took a lot of casualties doing so. They may be able to get the reses, as you said. The smoke going to be helping them out in that, but Knights are going to be pushing up on Ghost position. Algen holding the angle, but gets immediately taken out by Kramer. Turtle trying to swing around the side and trade that out, and he's able to make it a 1-for-1.
1-for-1 situation now. Turtle just trying to keep his eyes on this hill, waiting for the players of Knight's Head to pop up and give him the opportunity that he needs. He's got the Scar prepped and primed, ready to put out damage onto any more members from the squad that will be pushing up on him. Voxic and Texas, rather, going to be the only two members of Knights trying to just figure their way around this mountain, trying to just see if they can get the reses and safely do so. Thankfully, they got the knock on the Allogene, which is going to force Turtle to stick the res as well.
Ghost, they want to finish this fight, as well as Knights, because neither of them are in the circle just yet, and it's already in the process of closing. It's going to finish in 2 minutes. M19, on the other hand, they're able to get the res on all of the remaining players, but Voxic gets dropped once again. Allogene peeking on the side once he got res, trying to find the angle onto Drayden. It's going to be 2 down for Knights, the other 2 2-4 north to give an immediate assist.
Yeah, this engagement started out in favor of the Knights with the knock on Allogene, but they have reset it. They have recovered off of it, and Turtle going to be putting out a lot of hurt onto that Knight squad. And look at this position that Knights and Ghost are currently in. I mean, you mentioned it, Cameron. They're on the eastern side of things, but they've got to push over to the west into not 1, not 2, but 3 or 4 squads that are currently hiding on that eastern side of the circle.
Allogene gets dropped out of the vehicle, while Ghost trying to bomb in onto the edge, just trying to find some place to go. Texas from Knights, though, the lone remaining player having to run out in the open himself. He did take out a member of Vega. Doesn't know where the last one is, though. But that's not his biggest worry. His biggest worry right now is just trying to get inside, trying to get away from the blue, hopefully not getting spotted.
Yeah, absolutely. We can see Genji very central, just trying to get that map position. But Vard from Welcome to South George does not want to let any of these members from Ghost make their way in. We can see Turtle drop to just a smidge of HP, maybe just 1% on this player, McCoy, right behind him. The knock comes out. Vard able to find the connection with that SLR on the Turtle.
They're trying to pop the tires to lower the body of the vehicle. But Turtle did get dropped, as you said, and so the revive is going to have to come through from there. They are inside the circle, and they have 40 seconds before the next one pops, so they have a little bit of time to play with. But the Knights, unfortunately, they do not. Texas did finish off the last member of, I believe, Secret.
Yep.
But now they get taken out almost immediately after going out in 11th.
Exactly, and that is 2 of our top 3 teams that are going to be eliminated early on here in game number 1, Cameron. Certainly that is going to make some interesting developments on our leaderboards, and I can't wait to hear the analyst desk break down where these points are going to be going and what teams are going to be racking them up, but we have to wait and see which of these 10 teams remaining is going to be able to claim that chicken dinner.
Uba still going for blood. Only 2 kills for Na'Vi, which is a bit low from what we've seen. But they're still getting in a good position to get a much higher positioning. And in fact, you can see on the minimap the circle swings on their direction. They are on the edge, but they are very comfortable playing in this position. Moman, though, still not quite comfortable. But considering their early game, I think Method are quite content, let's say, with their current position.
Yeah, dropping into Pachinki in conflict and then being able to make it out with what they did. Certainly, you know, it's trying to salvage the game at that point, and he's doing a beautiful job at trying to do that. XQuest, 4 men strong, going to be in this compound. It's still in the circle, now on the edge. It was a central point previously, but they are still going to be looking very good.
Look at this from WTSG. They are leaving the circle to try and finish off Ghost to give them more freedom to move back inside. They already got a knock onto one of the players. Don't know if the revive came through from that. No, I think it was a full finish. It's just McCoy left, and a nade's going to come through. It goes too far, only tickles his feet a little bit, but more come in, and the final one from Miruku is all that's needed. That's going to be Ghost out in 10th place.
10th place finish for Ghost Gaming as Welcome to South George continues to push on. A very dominant threat here in game number 1. You know that they love this Erangel map, the bread and butter, the tried and tested. Navi, though, one of our top leaders in damage done per round so far here in our event, is looking good. You mentioned Cameron, only 2 kills right now, going to be drawing some fire from MVP up to the north, but he needs to rotate back down to his teammates. The other members of Navi going to be a little bit to the south.
Yeah, may have realized that his move was a little aggressive on that, but WTSG for themselves find a nice new crate. Late game crate is very good because oftentimes you can find yourself without armor or a helmet, and so a nice easy refresh on that is very useful, and immediately they're going on the aggressive with it. Getting a couple of downs. Victory 5, not just WTSG, but also Navi finding an angle onto their position.
Yeah, XQuest as well going to be lending a hand in this, able to get the knock onto Landman, so Victory 5 just finding themselves in a very tough position to play out of. Here comes Moleman, though, from Method. Going to be snaking up, just trying to see if he can get some shots out, but we can see just so much chaos beginning to erupt, or continuing to erupt, rather. There has not been a break in this game, Cameron. I mean, it has been action-packed. Kimba, 7 from Vega, going to be snaking in off of this edge, but this is going to be Navi. Shade spotting out Moleman, takes him down and out.
There is still 8C left for Method. They still have 1, and they've made their way into the top 8, but Vega... Kemba having to run away from the blue out in the open. XQuest, I'm surprised they don't spot him yet, but he wants to find a way into the circle, and he knows that XQuest are here. He hears the vehicle and sees Z9 up in the window as well. That's why he wants to take it slow, doesn't want to give any footsteps downs away, but the blue at his back is going to put a lot of pressure onto him.
Yeah, XQuest a little bit distracted right now with Welcome to South George directly to the south of this compound, which gave Vega's Kemba 7 the opportunity to just crouch walk his way in. He's going to be spotting out Z9. Max doesn't take the shots yet. He knows that if he does, it might not be good for him. I mean, 4 men strong for this squad versus a solo player from Vega. Not the odds that you want to be taking.
He keeps getting tickled by the blue, though, which is why you see his health go down further and further, but he knows that he's likely close to more members. I don't know if he knows exactly that there's a player in his building. No, he certainly hears those footsteps, so he knows that there's someone likely going to be exiting that door, but he just barely crawls inside. Not spotted by XQuest, but the next circle swings away from him once again. WTSG, though, down in the southeast, able to find their own position into the circle. They have to move in themselves.
Yeah, they're going to have to move. AT still in that prone position. Now the solo player for Method. He has to do something here, but Cameron, we've talked about it. Solo players can secure a top 2nd or 3rd finish, possibly even a first, depending on the odds, depending on what they're facing in terms of numbers. So, you know, you just have to play it out. You got to try to avoid all conflict at all possibilities. But here we go. XQuest and Navi going to be lending a hand and taking out Larson from Welcome to South George.
Oh, not good for WTSG as the body flies in the air, trying to find someplace in the circle, but they run directly into Gen G, the 2 remaining players of that team. But XQuest, they hear this, I think, and they want to go on the aggressive to try and punish any sort of wounded players. They have 4 alive, and they got to find some way to get into the circle, not using vehicles, but not finding an angle. It looks like they pull back. This is still not great for Kemba, though. You can see him hiding behind the wall, but he wants XQuest to move away as quickly as possible to give him space.
And has he been silent enough to where XQuest has ultimately forgotten about any threats that might be presenting themselves from their backwards flank? Here we go. Navi's Shade 1 going to be popping around this hill. They've got an elevated advantage to work with. Will they be able to spot out the lines of sight onto the other teams? Here comes Zhao, possibly wanting to get into one of the vehicles right next to where Kimba 7 was hiding. He says, hey, get back here with my cover. I am going to need that. And there he goes, off and away. Did not even spot out Kimba 7.
They didn't spot him out at all. Kemba, if he wanted to, he could have grabbed that vehicle, but he doesn't want to allow the vehicle to give his own position away to the next team he's going to be coming across. But he's got to be thanking his lucky stars that he is still alive, coming so close. But XQuest, they're not alive, or at least not all of them. Z9 does get dropped in the smoke. Genji going on the aggressive. Teletor hiding in the smoke, taking a lot of shots from an angle. Zhaodu trying to find something, throws. It's going to be just a flash nade, I believe. But Max does get finished off, this time by M19, does steal that kill away. Teletor taken down very low, and the spray actually from Navi is going to be what ultimately drops him.
Yeah, a very tough position for both XQuest and Gen.G to be in. XQuest knows that they cannot allow Gen.G to move out of this shack. They're going to be holding this position, holding their lines of sight until Loki moves out of the shack, trying to avoid that blue damage, and they're going to be taken out. But they need to worry about the ultimate threat inside of the circle, which is going to be M19.
Loki getting the actually clean up on his teammate, not to steal a kill because that's not a mechanic, but he wants to get that health items as quickly as possible off his teammates' bodies because he's going to be tanking the blue. He knows XQuest is blocking him his own entrance in, and he runs out in the open, tries to get it down to Zhaodu because he has no other choice, but look how low he is. The blue is chunking him away. He's forced to run, but he's able to make it inside, using the deflate as just enough cover.
What a play coming out from Gen G's Loki. Didn't even have a helmet to his name, had so much pressure looking down on him in this shack, was able to pop a few first aids to counteract that blue damage and give him the opportunity to wrap out. Getting a knock in the process is going to be a beautiful way to enter the circle, especially with just a sliver of HP to his own. Drainus and the rest of Na'Vi, though, going to be collapsing on the M19. We can see Bachelor going to be knocked again. This is his second knock of game number 1, so he will be bleeding out a little bit faster.
Nades come through, but they don't find elite player. Also trying to find the angle, but the tree cover is just wide enough. Jiaodu bleeds out. Example finds AK as well, and so XQuest is eliminated in 7th place. Gen G's still alive.
Wow, the way that this game has sort of transpired, Cameron, has been absolutely incredible. We've seen three of our four top 4 teams on the leaderboards going into today wiped out already. MVP, first place going into today, still alive, trying to extend this lead whatever they can. But it looks like Atzi, the solo player from Method, is going to be spotting out O10 from MVP. Meanwhile, the engagement between M19 and Na'Vi continues to erupt.
The CIS rivalry continuing to swing through. M19 down to 2, Na'Vi down to 3, but Na'Vi have a very strong position. They have a spot on the map where they have an opportunity to gain a lot of map control. They have so much space around them, likely because they are the only team who have more than 3 players left standing. There are so many solos left. You got Vega, Method, Gen G, and MVP, all with 1 player in this fight.
Yeah, exactly, Cameron. We have 6 teams alive right now with a 1.5 player average for their teams. That's absolutely incredible, especially when you take into consideration the 3-man strong squad of Na'Vi. Still working with those numbers, but we do see Vega. He's going to be eliminated. Kimbo 7 spotted out, taken down and out. Atzi is going to be very close to the solo member from MVP. Panji going to be trying to hide out in this shack. Meanwhile, we can see M19 Example and his teammate Constantine just looking this direction, able to spot out Atzi. He's going to be dropped, but do they know that the solo player from MVP, Panji, is lying in wait in that smoke?
They see the smoke tunnel, so they're going to suspect that someone else is in there. He caught... Oh, it's going to be Loki finished off by Na'Vi, but Pang still crawling through. Yeah, nades come through. They know someone is in there. They knew they caught 8C trying to go aggressive on another player, just catching him in the back. But Na'Vi, now they've cleared their end of the circle, they want more. They know that they have half the server on their side, and very likely it's the remaining players are split amongst 2 or even 3. So they're going to try and flush forward, sticking together so they can trade any potential catches on them. But they want to kill everyone else in this server. They're dead center right now, but Pang lying in wait. M19, they're not going super aggressive onto him. They're giving him an opportunity to relocate.
And the 8th circle has popped. One of our final circles here in game number 1. It's going to be shifting off a little bit to the northeast of the central point of the previous circle. Not too dramatic of a shift. Going to give these players the opportunity to sort of continue the engagements, the lines of sights, the peaks, and the holds that they were previously holding in the previous circle. But here we go. The snakes are coming out. Payne G just trying to do whatever he can to make his way in.
Crawling forward on the open road. M19, they pulled back from aggressing onto him because they didn't want to open up their own backs to any aggression from the other side. And so they're holding that angle, very well aware that Na'Vi are still in this and going to be pushing in from that angle because they did push themselves up here away from that team just moments ago.
Look at this drop that Payne G might be able to get on to Example from M19. He knows the player's there. He heard the footsteps, and Example has no helmet on. All it would take is one beautifully placed shot from this MVP player to take out M19 down to 1 player, just Constantine. He's not going to take the shots yet, but now he spots out Constantine, gets a quick knock onto that player, now trying to divert his spray over to Example.
Got the first knock, but Example was there to finish up. Didn't expect the assist from Na'Vi, but there we go. Na'Vi swinging over, getting the final kill onto M19. Na'Vi, they take game number 1.
Game number 1 in a very commanding way. I mean, we looked at Na'Vi towards the late game. They didn't have a lot of kills, but certainly the way that they handled that final few sets of circles was absolutely incredible. Well-deserved win for our boys from the CIS, Team Na'Vi.
Absolutely, and it's really good for them because they were in, I believe, 9th position at the end of yesterday, and especially being one of the heavy favorites coming into this whole event, it's good to them to have this game and the beginning of this second set of games to start to climb back up to get to the top.
Yeah, exactly. Plus taking out your CIS rival in the process in that second place position.
It's gotta feel good.
It certainly has to feel good. Drainus, Pokemon and the rest of the crew going to be very happy after game number 1, and that sort of sets the motivation going into our final 4 games of the evening, Cameron. Going to have to be interested to see what these guys are going to be able to pull out. And another thing to be interested in is how these leaderboards are going to develop.
Yeah.
It was so interesting to see some of our top teams get dropped out very early on.
Not a single member of the top 5 made it to the top
Right.
5 here. We had OG, Knights, XQ, and especially Team 17 going out quite early. It was only MVP who got a 3rd position, and they were the very top of the leaderboard. So this is going to be good for them to keep climbing up there, keep gathering all those points. But just those other 4 teams going out so early is going to give a lot of room, not just for Na'Vi, but other teams who are just slightly below them to climb up and overtake.